Why the clouds no hand to the earth? Why the clouds no hand to the earth? Why the clouds no hand to the earth?
Whoa, that was quick. And we're off. Welcome to the show. Natural Science and the Scientific Method. Going to try to put this one in the file for today. We'll see how far we get. It's kind of a longer presentation, I think, this one. So we might cut it up. Just depends on, we'll just play it by ear. So as usual, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Beautiful Betty Ballbreaker is in Discord. How's it going, Betty?
Reporting from the war room. Present.
Reporting from the war room. That's right. You remembered that, huh?
Yes.
I
was on location.
yeah, she was on. I forgot to put that in there. Our war correspondent.
Reporting from location.
Betty Ballbreaker. It was gonna be Betty Breadbreaker, but then I changed it last second.
Yeah, I think it's suited for that time, right?
Yeah, but I had some conflict because I was gonna use one of those two, and then I was gonna say Betty Ballbuster with breaking news, and then I said, the heck with it, I'll just make it redundant.
Just combine the two, huh?
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, I need
to elaborate because maybe some people might not have heard this.
I thought you were going to say you need to get a life if you're thinking about this stuff too much.
That's another thing but maybe we do that privately, that sort of conversation.
Yeah. If you got time to think about that, Kiwi, there's something wrong with you. But it wasn't a long thought. It was very quickly. It was in rapid succession.
You see that thoughts are very fast. I mean, what's the time of a thought?
Well, I thought we sat on thoughts, according to Hanoi Gerain. See, if you sit on a thought and your thought is wrong, some nonsense.
No. You said Hanoi deranged.
Not deranged, Gerain.
I understood deranged.
Yeah, well, it's similar. Got.
You just have let us hear a clip. Funny, man.
So what happened yesterday, folks? I was in Nathan's after show, and we were talking in there, and somebody said, "Well, Dell's doing a video on you guys," and I said, "Oh, really?" Because listen, I get a lot of crap for this, but I like Dell. I always liked him. He was out here when I first came on here. I think we arrived just around the same time. He made it come out here a little bit earlier than me. But listen, I just liked the cut of his jib ever since the beginning. And I told Betty that many, many years ago. I just like the guy, right? So I don't take anything too personally, right?
Huh.
Even no, in his case, even though he did a treatment on our last video with Rachie on. So I found it quite humorous in the beginning, even before I didn't watch it. Yeah, I didn't listen to it because I had stuff to do, and then Betty and I got together later on that evening, and I mentioned it to her. I said, "Hey, listen, the guys told me earlier that Dell had made a video concerning, in fact, I told her, I think Dell did a treatment on me."
But didn't he call you a god?
No, I think he said QE thinks he's a god. I didn't think he called me a god.
But some people, I remember that you had many of these conversations about, if I say that I'm Superman, am I Superman?
Yeah.
So it's sort of the same thing. If you tell me that I'm a god, am I really God?
No, it's really not.
No. Okay.
But anyway, we're listening to this, and it is absolutely hilarious. I mean,
We had a little buckload of fun.
there was a lot of guttural laughing. Now, we're not making fun of him, as far as you know, but it was just funny, right? And I know he called me a couple names. I think a wee wank and knob cheese, but that's it. I can.
Well, man,
What did he get? What else?
moron.
Yeah, he definitely did that. Anything else that you can remember?
Yeah, that knob end was nice.
I thought it was knob cheese.
That's later on. I think it's the whole crew was called a knob. Yeah.
But and I said, okay, so we started listening to it, and it was pretty funny, and we enjoyed it. Now, we didn't listen to the whole thing because it was long, but what I wanted to do was see if he put the end of the video on. Remember when Rachie was on, and then, after 2.5 hours, I put the hammer down on her. I just asked her a simple question concerning the scientific method that I just presented on, and she gave me her hypothesis. It was invalid, and then we went through the fallacy. And then it turns out that a week before that, Dell had commented on another one of my videos. I pinned the message underneath my YouTube video, and he more or less did the same thing. He had the same or very similar hypothesis. I think they're the same. And I came to that same conclusion. And then I said at the end, you're going to see it here in a couple minutes, at best, you got an affirming the consequent formological fallacy. So that's what I was looking for on his video. But it never showed up. He didn't go over that part of the video. And
Yeah, even though that the video took almost 2 hours and 19 minutes already, huh?
yeah, it's tantamount to going to a Leonard Skinner concert and leaving right before they hit the first note of Freebird. So I'm sitting there, what the heck is this? Give this a fair treatment. Now, obviously, everyone knows why he didn't do it, right? Because it's over. It's the end, right? So we'll go over that here in a couple seconds. Go ahead.
It's not the death knell, but it is the death Dell.
It's the death knell for Dell. Yeah. So it's not that bad. It's just your argument is a train wreck of a dumpster fire. Not only an invalid hypothesis, but an affirming the consequent formological fallacy. So it's over. Both he and Rachie, it's over. There's no more discussion. Now, unless you come up with another claim, then that's fine. But you can't use that one. Do you follow that? Does that make sense?
You know what I also find is that he also said that you made a claim.
Yeah, we're going to go over that. Thank you. That's one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go over that here in a few seconds. But I don't know. Did you want to introduce any of the panel members? Because I didn't think too many were going to be here.
Well, there's a lot of them, I think. We got Elijah, we got Fletchy Klein, we got Rodoox, and Sensual Goat.
You got the peach.
So Elijah, he wants to speak.
He's not the peach.
What the hell? He's on top of the list. Let him talk.
Am I the peach? No, you're the peach.
Yeah, right.
Peachy clean.
Peachy clean. That's a good one right off the cuff. You're in rare form. We don't have Adam here today because he's rubbing armpits with hairy women in Italy.
That gave us quite the visual. Appreciate it.
Rubbing armpits, did you say, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what you have with armpits, but it seems to be coming up.
Well,
everywhere.
broccoli sprouting from them, and
Yeah.
you never liked that.
No, I never did. Because I am kind of a person that sees things visually,
Yes.
right? With vivid imagination, you could say. And then I see the broccoli, and then I'm being put off by the broccoli next time. Can't eat it anymore. Because I think that the broccoli stands for.
you put it in your mouth. You're like, oh God, this isn't gonna happen. It tastes like sweat.
Exactly. So you got a super chat already.
Damn.
Yeah. So Theo McAworthy says, "How many curvilinear radii does an affirming the consequent fallacy have?"
True or
True.
false? Listen, yeah. He put a new twist on it. AI, nice one. Maybe.
Maybe.
All right, we ain't going over the list. Let's get right in there now. Del, if you want to do another treatment, make sure you get this part in here, okay?
Yeah. Be a good
Oh,
sport.
I got to share the screen because you guys won't be able to see. Sorry about that.
Hey, in the meantime, I'm gonna grab some food that's ready in the oven. So
Can
that
you hear it?
What?
Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay.
Alright.
Don't be long. We miss you already. All right. 1 second, guys. Let me get my act together here. Still not together. Why isn't my act together? Aha. All right. From 13 days ago. So Dell posted this under one of the videos. I think we were talking about the Yumis during this, but I can't remember. But I noticed a comment from him, so I went ahead and pinned it. And I'll read it for you. From Dell, I shall make a video and help you to understand your claim and position. We have a directional vector. A directional vector in the physical world is established by motion. The antecedent for a directional vector is motion. You claim stationary. I don't experience motion. You don't experience acceleration. That's change in direction or linear. You experience a direction vector. So you claim stationary. Didn't we already go through this? Digress. How do you get a directional vector from stationary? Your antecedent to direction is stationary. Question mark. You are making an extraordinary claim. It's not my fault you don't comprehend your own position. Hopefully you don't let your ego get in the way and display some dishonesty. You are very welcome to come and have a chat, but you really need to understand your own position and how absurd it is. So that's what he wrote, and this is my response. Hey, Dell, aren't we here to discuss your claim? Number 2, directional vector is redundant, painfully so. From the University of Colorado, a vector is a mathematical object consisting of a magnitude, size, and a direction. So saying directional vector is redundant. Number 3, we have a directional vector. That's what he said. So that's a non sequitur fallacy if you're looking at the above definition of what a vector is, and we are not mathematical objects. Number 4, the antecedent for a directional vector is motion. That's what he said. A, citation, please. And B, I'm not in motion. I'm stationary sitting in my chair. Number 5, he says, you experience a direction vector. My query? While I'm stationary in my chair? Number 6, so you claim stationary. That's what he's saying I'm claiming. This is my response. I claim the earth and I are not moving. That is a non-existence claim. That is, I claim the non-existence of the motion of the earth. You claim the earth and you are rising up. That's a positive claim. So now you, Dell, must prove the Earth is moving. If you say, no, no, you must prove we're not moving stationary, you're guilty of invoking fallacious reasoning. 2 of them, in fact. A, proving non-existence. Description, demanding that one proves the non-existence of something in place of providing adequate evidence for the existence of that something. Very simple. And number 2, the burden of proof rests with the person making the claim, and a positive claim. That's you, by the way, Dell. It is shifting the burden of proof for the person making the positive claim to insist that those who deny the positive claim have the burden to prove that the positive claim is false. These are very simple. Now, the meat. This is your positive claim, Dell. And he said, the density gradient is caused by Earth moving up. I quoted him directly from Nathan's show. Number 1, this is a natural cause and effect claim. Number 2, natural cause and effect claims are only adjudicated by the scientific method. In your hypothesis, your dependent variable, the effect, is density gradient, and your independent variable is Earth rising up. You must be able to vary and manipulate the independent variable in your experiment to validate, that is, prove or confirm your hypothesis. My conclusions? You cannot vary and manipulate the Earth. Your hypothesis is invalid. And, at best, you have an affirmative consequent formological fallacy. Regards. This is it. This is the end. This conclusion, these 2 conclusions right here, it's over. Now, you're going to hear them again coming from Rachel here in a second. But it's over. You can't pass go unless you come up with another claim. And then we start all over again. But this one, it's dead. D-O-A-D-E-D, dead, period, end of story. So that was 13 days before Rachel came on. And you're going to hear an echo. Rachie's hypothesis. The density directionality is caused by Earth moving up. Essentially the same claim that Dell did. Guess what's going to happen? You guessed it. The same thing. Dependent variable, density directionality, independent variable, Earth moving up. This whole thing right here is an invalid scientific hypothesis. Why? Well, the researcher must be able to vary and manipulate the independent variable to validate the cause. Independent variable. Slam dunk. We're going to go over some of that today in a presentation. I think it's in there. And number 2, from Rachie, this is what she claimed. And we made sure she claimed it, and then I put the format on her. If the Earth is rising up, P, then we would have this density layer, Q. We have a density layer, Q, therefore the Earth is rising up, P. This is a slam dunk textbook affirming the consequent formological fallacy. There it is right here. If P then Q, Q therefore P. If P then Q, Q therefore P. The end. The end. There's no buts, no howevers, no Coriolis effect. Nada. Zero. Zilch. It ends right here. Simple. Any questions?
Not too many.
Yeah.
Very succinct. I mean, yeah. What can you say about this?
I'm
just thinking about something. What if I was able to move or manipulate the Earth? Then it would be a valid hypothesis.
If you could vary and manipulate the Earth to make sure that is the cause of your effect, then yes.
But if I could manipulate the Earth, I would at least sort of already have a claim that it is moving.
Hold up a second. Betty, put a cork in it. Nathan's here. He said you may begin.
It's good to know. Late to the party again.
I don't know if he... I don't know if he heard the beginning. Should we run it one more time?
You wanna have it all repeated?
No, the intro. You won't be able to hear it, but the people on YouTube will. Nathan, this is for you since you're late. Here you go.
Why the clouds no hand in the earth?
There you go. What do you think about that?
Oh my god.
Now, I have to admit, while me and Betty were listening to that yesterday, I caught that in my ear and I said, and we didn't stop there. We laughed for a long time, but we kept moving on. But I earmarked that. And as soon as we left, I went back and recorded it. And then I sent it to Betty and she lost it. Let's do it again because I kind of like it.
Why the clouds no hand in the earth?
Yep, that's it.
Is this sort of on the same level as the electric purr and electric fur?
I think it's below that level.
Okay. Remember, it's from your sort of bromance guy, huh?
Yeah, that doesn't. I still like him.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
Nathan's getting a kick out of it. Yeah, that's for intellectual discussions right there. Hell, let's do it one more time.
Why the clouds no hand in the earth?
That's classic, man. That is classic, boy. I love it. All right, we can move on. By the way, that moving on, that means I'm not going to deal with this again. Okay? Del, Rachie, it's over. Right? Unless you can come up with another claim, then this discussion is over. I don't know how any other way to put it. Okay?
There's some talk in the chat, by the way. Can you... Sleeping Warrior says, play it again, please.
Did he? All right.
Can anybody translate?
Why the clouds no hand in the earth?
You good?
What did he say about Sleeping Warrior, by the way? He also had a name for him. What was it again?
He did. I can't remember. Well, because Sleeping Warrior wasn't part of the video. He was in the chat. And
he got also...
and he said, I guess Del seen him over in the side, and then he said, "Oh, Sleeping Warrior," and then I can't remember exactly what he said.
Yeah, it was a name twist, I think. Right? Something with a name.
It was probably pretty funny, whatever it was. And if it was in regard to Sleeping Warrior, probably not that far from the truth.
Oh!
You weren't ready for that. Shout out to Anthony. Oh.
Isn't that your middle name?
Yes.
Yep.
What does that mean? You're going to make some kind of incoherent connection or something?
In your sleep?
Yeah. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to do what? We're going to do some natural science and the scientific method?
Yeah, let's see how it's really done, huh?
Or do you want to? Do you got something you want to bring up before we embark on this journey?
What do I need to bring up? Huh?
I don't know. Just if you don't have anything to bring up, then you don't have anything to bring up, and then we'll embark on the scientific method journey.
Let's do that because it's better.
All right, let me get my act together then. It's not together right now.
Where do you have it?
Underneath the chair.
Are you sitting on your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sitting on that. Jeez, oh man. Make sure I got the right screen. During the Hanoi Durain presentation, I don't know how or what happened, but it flipped over to my other screen for some reason, and some of the parts of the presentations were cut off. You guys got the idea, though. If you didn't, just let me know, and I'll go back over it, but I think I got it squared away. I failed to check it, Betty. I failed to do my due diligence and check to make sure all the settings were squared away.
You are slacking a little.
I'm slacking a bit.
Yeah. So you're going to be live also in Discord?
Yes, Betty. Jeez, she busted me again.
Why not yet? So,
I got you.
Sort of a gentle reminder.
It's all right. I just got to stop the whole show and go in Discord. It's a bit of a pain, but I think I can do it.
Yeah.
All right.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. You got it?
Yep.
All right. This is part B of natural science and the scientific method. Like I said, I don't know if we're going to get through the whole thing. We'll just play it by ear, see how I feel. Yeah, and such. All right. The king of the scientific method is experiment. It's birthed from the queen hypothesis, which is birthed from the first step of the scientific method. Observe a natural phenomena. The critical, indispensable steps are, remember we talked about the complete scientific method the last time. Number 1, observe a natural phenomena. Number 2, formulation of a hypothesis. And 3, experiment. These are the main guys. These are indispensable. Not that the others weren't important. We went over that last time. But these, whenever I hear somebody say science or the scientific method, boom, that's what I see right there. So you know my first question is always, right from the beginning, back there in 2016, natural phenomena observed, please. Right? So that's where it comes from. You cannot have science that is natural science. Let's stop right here. Whenever we say science in this genre, we're talking about natural science. We're not talking about science as in to know. In this genre, anytime science is mentioned, it is natural science.
So not field science.
Not computer science, not general, just science of economics. No, natural science.
I remember Gem Panda with the beaks of whatever.
Beaks and beaks and beaks and beaks and beaks.
Mm-hmm.
No, that wasn't beaks and beaks and beaks. His was birds humping.
But it was close. It was close.
Yeah, it was close. They did peck each other. Okay. You cannot have science, like I said, natural science, without these three. You just can't do it. If you have it without these three, it's not it. It's a category error. 66% of the experiment is the hypothesis. 50% of the hypothesis is natural phenomena observed. Pretty cut and dry. And remember, I have this peppered throughout the presentations, just so you don't forget. From the University of Rochester Physics Labs, the scientific method distinguishes science, they're talking about natural science here, from other forms of explanation because of its requirement of systematic experimentation. So, without this, you don't have this because of that. See how I did that? It's very distinct.
Beautiful.
Go ahead.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Also
So what the hell is an experiment?
Flash, but that's another thing.
Oh, you're not done yet.
Oh, go back. You can see the colors clash.
Tell you what, why don't you give the presentation? I'll just sit back.
I'm doing a treatment on you while you're doing it.
Oh, you're doing the treatment on me while I'm doing the presentation? That's a unique twist. You're going to heckle me.
Yeah, it's never done before.
All right. Yeah, there's a first time for everything. That's okay. I don't mind. If I can issue out treatments, then I can take them.
That's true.
All right.
Take it
So,
like a man.
yes. Not like a man. I am a man. Experiment. Hypothesis test.
That's not sure nowadays no more. So.
Well, you can be clear I am.
All right.
Any other strawberries with this topic, or can I move on to what the hell an experiment is?
No, just go on.
Experiment. In other words, it's a hypothesis test. From Lieu's Introduction to Theory and Application of Molecular and Quantum Mechanics. Listen up. The final arbiter of truth in science is experiment. Duh. From Professor Shankar, Chair, Professor of Physics at Yale. The only way things change in physics is experiments. Everything. You see this? See this one right here? Is everything yanking? Yeah. Everything is based on experiment, baby. That's the only way we change our mind.
That's what he said.
Good one. From Richard Feynman, Nobel Prize Physics. Now, listen up, folks. I've drugged Richard Feynman around by his short hairs on many occasions through the years, right? So I use Richard Feynman because the baltards think he's some type of god. The only reason why I use him. Now, he can talk the talk, but he can't walk the walk, right? So he says, if it doesn't agree with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. So, if you don't have the key, you ain't getting in. And the key is that guy. Got to have experiment. Back to Richard Feynman. This is a very interesting statement right here. This is like an onion. Mathematics is not a science from our point of view, in the sense that it is not a natural science. The test of its validity is not experiment. So, according to Dick, for something to be natural science, it must be validated by experiment. You see how I got that from here? We'll deal with math here, coming down here in maybe about 20 minutes or so. But do you see that in the statement? It's implicit. Hope everyone got that. From Max Planck, experiment is the only means of knowledge at our disposal. Everything else is poetry, imagination. Now, give Max a break. Give Max a break. Give Max Planck a break.
Did you say a brain?
Yeah, I said a break.
Okay, I thought you said give Max a brain.
Give Max a break.
Are you okay?
Yeah, everything will be okay.
Okay.
As far as you know. So, give Max Planck a break. I got it that time. He's referring, the context here is natural science. Okay? That's what he's speaking to here. He's not saying the only means of knowledge forever and ever and ever, encompassing every context, is experiment. That's not what he's saying here. He's talking about molecular quantum mechanics. So take him within context. All right? Back to the University of Rochester Physics Labs. The scientific method requires, very important word right there, that a hypothesis be ruled out or modified if its predictions are clearly and repeatably incompatible with experimental tests. Further, no matter how elegant a theory is, its predictions, that's its hypotheses, must agree with experimental results if we are to believe that it is a valid description of nature. In physics, as in every experimental science, that's redundant, experiment is supreme. This is very important last statement. And experimental verification of hypothetical predictions, like I said, hypotheses, is what? Absolutely necessary. You can't get by without it. Game, set, match. You must have experiment. natural science. So, what do experiments consist of? From Penn State University, there should be 3 categories of variables in every experiment. The dependent, independent, and controlled. Now, you already got these 2. You already know these 2 because remember what it said. Experiment is a hypothesis test. Well, the 2 constituent parts of a hypothesis are dependent and independent variables. So you know they have to ride along, right? Only thing, and we'll go over this down below, only thing added is the control variables. Dependent variables, the effect. The independent variables, the cause. The control are constants, variables that held, like I said, constant, so as not to confound the test.
Like what then?
Time.
Oh, but the time is an independent variable.
Time is never an independent variable. Time doesn't cause diddly squat.
I remember with Mr. Clan of the Clan MacLeod or whatever.
No, you screwed that up. Get it right.
I can't say it.
Steve
You do it.
McClown of the Clan McClowns.
That guy. He said, I have 2 different, no, I have 2 the same petri dishes and I put them in the oven and I just, the independent variable is the time that I put them in for.
Yeah, I remember it.
I was thinking, okay.
Then you whipping around by the short hairs?
The thing is that I told him that he's an evolutional, delusional.
He's an evolutional delusional.
Because time is there basically salvation for everything.
Yeah. You know
Betty's
what?
on it today.
Say again?
Betty's on it today. She's got all the clever quips.
Yeah, she's all over it. She's giving us the treatment.
Very well, I might add.
Yeah. So, back to the topic. Thanks, buddy. Explorable.com. This is a research organization. There are 3 important variables you have to remember when you're designing your experiment. Independent, dependent, and control variables. So the same thing that Penn State says. So there's no misunderstanding. Okay? Yeah? They better be on the same sheet of music or there's a rooster in the hen house. From the Institute of Physics. When planning an investigation, students need to identify the variables that they consider significant and then select the ones they want to look at for cause and effect. If possible, any other variables that will affect the outcome of the experiment need to be kept constant during the investigation. The 3 variables, independent, dependent, controlled. From Wiki, we're getting into a lot of cause and effect here. Even from their alma mater, an experiment is a procedure carried out to support, refute, or validate a hypothesis. Experiments provide insight into cause and effect by demonstrating what outcome occurs when a particular factor is being manipulated. I wonder what that factor being manipulated is. From McClellan Kristen, oh, we're into proving. I think that's where I was going with this. Maybe not. We'll see. Get up there. Experiment. Once the hypothesis has been established, it is time to test it. The process of experimentation is what sets science apart from other disciplines. That's an echo, isn't it? From this statement from the University of Rochester. Looks like they're on the same sheet of music with those 2 statements, right? The process of experimentation is what sets science apart from other disciplines. The scientific method distinguishes science from other forms of explanation because of its requirement of systematic experimentation. Saying the same thing. And it leads to discoveries every day. An experiment is designed to prove or disprove the hypothesis. If your prediction is correct, you will not be able to reject the hypothesis. Period. End of story. Hopefully you get that remember I had this peppered throughout the presentation. What the hell is a scientific hypothesis? You might ask. So a scientific hypothesis is your experiment statement. It expresses a testable proposed cause and effect relationship. The phenomena that was observed in step 1. From nature.com, one of the most prestigious quote-unquote science journals in the entire world, With the king of pseudoscience up here, like I said, he can talk the talk. There's no walking the walk, though. But listen to what he has to say. California Institute of Technology physicist Sean Carroll arguing in The Edge that hypotheses aren't simply useful tools in some potentially outmoded vision of science. They're the whole point. Hope that's clear. From Lowell C., becoming a successful scientist from Cambridge University, a scientific hypothesis is based on cause and effect reasoning. A scientific hypothesis does not merely state X and Y may be related, but explains why they're related. Why they are related. This is incorrect. A hypothesis is a cause and effect relationship, but it doesn't explain anything. The experiment happens, then the scientists do the explaining after the experiment. Hypotheses are only suppositions. From Drexel University, the scientific method is hypothesis-driven. One makes an educated guess to explain what? Cause and effect relationship. From Anne-Marie Humberstein, PhD Biomedical Sciences. A hypothesis is an educated guess based on observation. It's a what? Prediction of cause and effect. A lot of cause and effects happening here. From Colorado State, a scientific hypothesis is a special kind of prediction that forecasts how the independent variable will affect the dependent variable. From back to Penn State, the scientist applies his or her present knowledge to predict the effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable. The prediction, again, is a statement of the expected results of the experiment based on what? Guessed it, the hypothesis. The prediction is often an if-then statement. Hypothesis from Krista McClellan again. Hypothesis should also contain a prediction. A lot of prediction and hypotheses going on here. They must be connected. About its verifiability. For example, if the hypothesis is true, then 1 should happen when 2 is manipulated. The first blank, number 1, is the dependent variable. It depends on what you're doing in the second blank. And the second blank, number 2, is the independent variable. You manipulate it to get a reaction. There should be no other variables in the experiment that may affect the dependent variable. From University of California, Berkeley, formalized hypotheses contain 2 variables. Sorry, that's Bakersfield. Formalized hypotheses contain 2 variables. One is independent and the other is dependent. The independent variable is one you, the scientist, control. Bad word. Vary or manipulate. And the dependent variable is the one that you observe and or measure the results. Notice there are 2 parts to a formalized hypothesis. The if portion contains the testable proposed relationship, and the then portion is the prediction. I should have highlighted that. Not too late. The prediction. Remember all the predictions up there? We were having predictions till the cows come home, weren't we? Yeah. Well, that's because it's a prediction. And everyone knows it. Well, everyone that can fog a mirror. The then portion is the prediction of the expected results from an experiment, because an experiment is a hypothesis test. An acceptable hypothesis contains both aspects, not just the prediction portion. Hey, get out of there. From back to the University of Rochester, the scientific method requires that a hypothesis be ruled out or modified. Its predictions are clearly and repeatedly incompatible with experimental tests. Colorado State, scientific hypothesis. Again, a special kind of prediction that forecasts what? How the independent variable is affecting the dependent variable. Duh. From the University of North Carolina, in an experiment, the independent variable is the variable that is varied or manipulated by who? The researcher. And the dependent variable is a response that is measured. Independent variable is the presumed cause, whereas the dependent variable is the presumed effect. The IV, in this case, with cause and effect, is the antecedent, whereas the DV is the consequent. Too easy, right? Here's another subtle point. A scientific hypothesis is a supposition. It is not a presupposition. That's going to send you in a tailspin. They're different words. They have different meanings. A supposition, on the other hand, has the connotation that the idea or theory is testable and provable. That means it's a tentative idea. It's provisional. See that? Whereas a presupposition, it's something that happens before the supposition. You get it? Something that you believe is true without having any frigging proof. That's quite different than this, isn't it? Yeah,
Yep.
you'd think so.
So you're
Yep.
not a presuppositionalist.
Oh, I got a lot of reactions from this one. Are you giving me the treatment on this one?
Well, I know the word presuppositionalist, and um, I know that people with the Bible, some Christian people use that tactic.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they say that the inherent word of the Bible is true, and that's their presupposition. They start from there. And
Not
it
a
doesn't
bad,
need any proof because it proves itself. They say
not a bad starting point.
true. I've seen some great presupposition lists at work. You can't get around it.
Yeah, it could be used poorly in some situations. I just wanted to identify the difference in the meanings of these two. There's a point.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the definition of supposition from Merriam-Webster, something that is supposed. Well, thanks for that. Well, at least they give us an example, a hypothesis. A valid scientific hypothesis establishes a tentative possible supposed cause and effect relationship, which will either be confirmed or invalidated by the experiment. That is the hypothesis test. Make sense? See how it flows? The cause and effect relationship is supposed. However, the independent variable's existence, like the cause, isn't supposed. For example, alternative hypothesis. Given otherwise healthy type 1 diabetes patients, the lack of insulin on board will lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. Well, the independent variable or the cause is the insulin or the lack thereof. I'm not supposing or assuming the existence of insulin. It most certainly exists. The supposition is its effects. Next block of instruction, how to sit down. Then point at a friggin' horse. These clueless pretender clowns are so ignorant and desperate because their incoherent goose is cooked. They think because they see the word presumed, i.e. the independent variable is the presumed cause, that then greases the skids and allows them to float presumptions or assumptions, sphere Earth, spinning Earth, evolution, as independent variables. They're idiots. The independent variable's effect is supposed. It's getting ready to be tested. See experiment. It's not the independent variable, the cause itself. I did a next block of instruction. How to say the on Tuesdays. Everyone say it's Tuesday. Here's how you say the. The. Got it? My word. Boy, this set. Betty, you remember these guys when I made these up that many, many moons ago?
You made them up.
I didn't make. I created them.
I remember that you said that once. I made those up, and then people would get right on that same thing.
Yeah, I didn't just. I did. It's.
You made them up.
You made them up. Maybe I can explain this one a little because this one was a bugaboo for a long time and confused a lot of people.
Boiling water. Or the boiling water.
Water. from a water bottle.
Yeah.
All right,
I
guys.
think I asked you to write this down.
Yeah, you did because somebody was trolling you about this water boiling stuff. Remember?
It was a fellow countryman. Yeah.
Yes.
Guy.
Yes. Can't remember his. If I seen his name, I'd recognize him.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, let me give you some background because not everything is everything, right? You have to take into account context. Whenever you're talking about water boiling, freezing points, and boiling point depressions, freezing point elevation, boiling point depression, you must speak to pressure. That's the only reason I added this on, so people that are, have two brain cells smashed together won't say, well, this isn't true. Heat will cause water to boil because you forgot the context.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow that.
Is the pressure thing maybe a control thing?
Yes. Now, it's mentioned here, and they're usually not mentioned in hypotheses because control variables are not mentioned. This is a special case because I'm dealing with boiling points. If I was dealing with freezing point depression, it would be the same. I have to connect it. It would be non sequitur for me to make this statement right here. Somebody's go on mute. It would be nonsensical for me to make this statement without this one attached. I'd be an idiot. They would immediately know that I'm clearly clueless. Right? So that's why it has to be attached here. It's a special case, but an important one. Hope everyone gets that. The actual hypothesis is this. So, okay, everyone clear? Hopefully, probably not. Number 2, you already heard this one. Given otherwise healthy type 1 diabetes patients, the lack of insulin on board will lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. Number 3, if the witch path information is known or can be known, then we will observe wave function collapse. That is, no interference, matter existing. Number 4, if vitamin C intake is crucial to collagen integrity in humans, then eliminating vitamin C intake in humans will cause scurvy. Although those 4 right there, and I come up with hundreds, but I gave you 4 examples. These are all valid, viable scientific hypotheses. Every single last one of them. I'll probably get some people in the chat claiming something about water boiling. Be careful of this guy.
Asking for the equations.
Oh, boy. We're going to get to mathematics here, hopefully. Maybe that might be next time. From the medical dictionary, a complex hypothesis, listen closely, examines the relationship between 2 or more independent variables. Right away, that should raise a weathered eyebrow. Because what you're trying to ascertain, the cause of the effect. But if you have 2 or more independent variables acting on the dependent variable, are you going to find out what the cause is? No. Because you haven't made the distinction between one or the other of the 2.
You will have perfect tool to manipulate people.
Was that Lon Chaney?
Sorry, noob.
All right. Now, I say rot-row, Shaggy, because you got a big problem with this complex hypothesis and it being science. And the University of Texas is going to tell you right now. There can only be one Highlander independent variable and one dependent variable in an experiment. Period. End of story. Relegating this monkey to the trash bin. If you're talking about science. Everyone see that? Everything else that can impact the experiment must be kept constant or controlled. Like I said before. These are known as controls. Go ahead.
Can't there be 2 causes for one phenomenon?
There can, but you can't, like plant growth, but those have to be separate hypotheses.
Yes, but you basically can present them maybe in one paper.
Yes, but all different hypotheses being validated.
Okay.
One at a time. So what you do for plant growth, that's a good example, by the way. You have water. I'm not trying to talk down to anyone. I'm just trying to be comprehensive. You have water, sunlight, pH. A lot of people, that's a little obscure, but that's okay. You get the picture. Nutrients, right? That all contribute to the plant growth. Yeah? So what you do, now you have some other factors too, temperature and all that, but you get the idea. So what you have to do is you have to take each one individually as an independent variable and then keep the others all constant, right? And then go through that hypothesis validated by experiment. Then you remove that one you had as the independent variable. That becomes a constant, and you take the other one and you have a new hypothesis with a new independent variable. Everyone catch that?
You have to basically isolate them,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Every single one. Yes.
Add more CO2.
Don't worry about that. Who is that?
Yes, CO2 is also one of them. Yeah. let me ask you another thing. Like when people say that these mud masks work for sort of infections not spreading, right? They say that follow the science. They say.
That's not science.
What do you say about
Yeah, that's not science, number one. That would be pretty hard to validate, and even logically speaking, if I don't, why would you have to bring this topic up? You know, I'm treading light ground here.
Well, the thing is that I find it very prevalent because we are living in a
Thank you.
Or a post like world where they say that these measures that they have taken with mouth masks and other like preventative measures it would worked for the non-spreading of the disease.
Okay, we get the picture. So I can defeat that point logically. How can I do that?
With the scientific method.
Now I can defeat it logically and say that if the little buggies are this small and the filters are this big, the biggie, you follow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I can defeat it.
But they say that they followed the science, though there has been these people that proposed this, and they might have a presupposition instead of a supposition. And how could they isolate the whole thing? That
they can't. Yeah, they you got it. Yes.
It's sort of a that they predicted something that in hindsight, basically.
Yeah, it's called a post-diction.
Yeah.
This complex hypothesis nonsense is employed by epidemiological studies. Their correlation. As soon as you hear correlation, you need to have weathered eyebrow raised, right? Correlations is nonsense. It's not science, that's for sure. Remember, correlation doesn't equal causation. Remember that from second grade? And I'm sure you've heard it plenty of times since. Yeah. From Cornell University, epidemiological studies can never prove causation. What do scientific hypotheses and experiments do? Always prove causation. So it's antithetical to science. I digress. Epidemiological studies can never prove causation. That is, it cannot prove that a specific risk factor actually causes the disease being studied. Epidemiological evidence can only show that the risk factor is associated, correlated with a higher incidence of disease in the population exposed to that risk factor. The higher the correlation, the more certain the association, but it cannot prove causation. Everyone got that? So correlation, if you hear correlation, bells should be going off. I remember the Baltards tried this little idiot maneuver. Oh, that variable came from mathematics, QE. Really? From ThoughtCo, we're going back to Anne-Marie Helmstein.
It's going to be a soundbite for Dell.
It could be.
It could.
Let's hope. math variables. A variable is any factor that can be changed or controlled. In math, a variable is a quantity that can assume any value. Right there, you know that they're in big trouble if they try to associate it with science. Right there is a quantity that can assume any value. Yeah, that's not an independent variable. From a set of values, that doesn't even make sense. It's non sequitur. So she differentiates it right here. A scientific variable is a little more complicated. So it's over right there. Plus, there are different types of scientific variables. Scientific variables are associated with the scientific method. Duh. I can end it right there. It doesn't matter. Variables are things that are controlled and measured as part of an experiment. There is no experiment in mathematics. And that really put the hammer down on them. The Baltards, that is. So, independent variables. Independent variable is what is varied during the experiment. It is what the investigator thinks will affect the dependent variable. From Colorado State. My wife graduated from Colorado State. That's her alma mater. Not wiki. But I digress. Independent manipulated. They put it right in the friggin' phrase. Independent manipulated variable. Variable changed by who? The scientist. What the investigator is testing. From North Carolina, again, University Type 1H. In an experiment, the independent variable is the variable that is varied or manipulated by who? By the researcher. And the dependent variable is a response that is measured. Independent variable is a presumed cause, whereas the dependent variable is a supposed effect. They need to change these words, by the way. You thought I wouldn't catch that, didn't you? Do you guys think do you think I set myself up for that?
Yes.
I did not. You conspiracy theorists might think that, but now I seen it. Yeah, I read through it and I said, that's some bullshit. From the Institute of Physics. Independent variable. The variable that is, deliberately changed by who? The experimenter. These guys, they're all saying the same thing, aren't they?
Wait a minute. Now you have an experimenter.
Yeah, he's the researcher. They're interchangeable.
Researcher.
Yeah,
Scientist.
they're interchangeable.
Uh-huh.
Unless the researcher's not experimenting, then that researcher pretended to call fraud.
Well, he could be researching something.
He could be.
But then it's not science, right? If there's no experiment.
Correct.
Hey, Neil. Wow. Thanks.
Hello.
Didn't see you there.
Are you done?
About.
Okay. We'll wait. Since you're about done, we'll wait for the rest. Changed by the experiment. That's the Institute of Physics. From the University of Southern California. Independent variable. The variable that is stable and unaffected by other variables you are trying to measure. It refers to the condition of an experiment that is, systematically manipulated by the who? We're back to the investigator, Betty. Now we got researcher, experimenter, and investigator.
Investigator.
Yeah.
Private investigations.
It is the presumed... bad. Nope. I'm going to have to go through this presentation.
You need to write these clowns and say, you can't do this. Let them show them their video.
Yeah, now, it's just habit. They're not thinking about what the words mean. It should be supposed cause.
Did you put it?
I did.
This one was from Federal Bureau of Investigation, sir.
Say what? Who was that? Was that Stalin?
No. It's noob. New band.
Remember, this is very important right here. Remember, not that the other parts weren't important, but this has subtle importance. Remember, viable independent variables must satisfy 3 criterion. Number 1, it's your, look at that, supposed. I'm all over this. It's your supposed cause. Number 2, the researcher must be able to vary or manipulate it. And number 3, the independent variable must demonstrably exist before you use it in an experiment. All 3 criteria must be satisfied, not just one. Height, depth, width, length, distances, and time are not viable independent variables. Laughing out loud. I'm gonna show you why. This should make perfect sense to you. The submarine was crushed at a depth of 10,000 feet. Did depth cause the sub to implode, or was it pressure? Number 2, the gentleman was so obese he measured 1 meter wide. Did width cause obesity, or was it laziness combined with excessive caloric intake? Number 3, over the course of the night, the sun suddenly appeared above the horizon. Did time cause the sun to appear above the horizon? Does time cause the difference of scores between the first and third quarters? You see how silly these are? It's rhetorical, by the way. Null hypothesis, very important. The Nullsky from California State, Northridge. To do a hypothesis test, that is experiment, you will actually have 2 hypotheses. The null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, which are stated in such a way that they are mutually exclusive. You can't have both hypotheses be true. The null hypothesis is the conclusion that is considered the default. You will accept this hypothesis if you fail to find sufficient support for the alternative hypothesis. The null hypothesis, 0 difference. This is from sciencenotes.org. The null hypothesis, it's called the 0 difference or no difference. Null, get it? 0, no difference hypothesis predicts that changing one variable, the independent variable, will have no effect on the variable being measured. So, how do you have a null hypothesis without an independent variable? That's what I was going for there. The alternative and null hypotheses are stated in such a way that they are mutually exclusive. I pulled that out. Both can't be true. For example, observe a natural phenomena. We're going to go with the diabetes one that we used before. Don't want to go with heat causes water to boil because that might send people off in a friggin' tizzy. Get their panties in a bunch. So, observe a natural phenomena. Healthy type 1 diabetes patients suffer from diabetic ketoacidosis, apparently from the absence of adequate insulin on board. Alternative hypothesis. Given otherwise healthy type 1 diabetes patients, the lack of insulin on board will lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. That's the alternative. Now watch, I'm going to be tricky with the null. Given otherwise healthy type 1 diabetes patients, the lack of insulin on board will not lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. The only difference between these is will, positive, and negative will not. That's the only difference. See how they're mutually exclusive? The dependent variable, the effect or prediction is diabetic ketoacidosis. The independent variable or cause is insulin or the lack thereof. Hopefully everyone gets that. That's how easy it is. In conclusion, hey, why'd you skip on me? What's up with that? Still not perfect. Watch. Ooh, yeah. Even though I got it. Don't worry about it. In conclusion, alternative hypothesis is the independent variable plus the dependent variable equals the prediction of cause and effect. The null hypothesis is the independent variable plus dependent variable equals the prediction of not cause and effect. And the experiment is the independent variable plus the dependent variable plus the constants or controls equals prediction of cause and effect. There they are. Constituent parts and exactly what each are. I'm starting to get tired. Did we finish?
That's that age.
Shut up. Shutting up.
Independent variable, age.
Do I want to go further? How much do I got in here?
Hypothesis.
Oh God, I got a ways to go. Go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah, let's hypothesis that you are too lazy to.
Oh, don't.
Don't. So, do these links all still work?
Most of them do. You want to try one?
Because I remember back in the day that they tried to change them up sometimes.
Yeah, they did. Most of them do. Which one you want to try? You want to try this one?
Yeah, let's see.
Let's see if it does. Yep.
Ooh, they use colors as well.
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Huh. Okay.
That one works.
But
they do all you need do though, in this day and age is go ahead and type. You don't have to put the whole body in a search engine. Just use like the first sentence. Just type in the first sentence and it'll usually pull it up. It's saved.
Or someone else quotes it.
Say again.
Or someone else that quotes it.
Or somebody else that quoted it too. And number two, since we're in the internet age, with the internet, you can go to what's the name of that? Wayback Machine. I got it before you did.
No, you didn't.
Wayback Machine. Yeah, just type it in, hit in a Wayback Machine. It'll be good to go.
I don't get why they have to change all that.
Well, some they just
in the act.
Some there's no nefariousness about it. There are some that there isn't any. They're just updating the website, and sometimes the web designer will just forget to put it back in. It's no problem if it's cited in many publications. They're going to hear about it because people go try to confirm the citations, and they're gonna get an earful, like Professor Wolf's at the University of Rochester. You thought you'd get away with that shit, didn't you? You got to be clueless.
Yeah, well, it's the Ministry of Truth at work.
Yeah, remember M. Scott Beach called them. I'm sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours?
Yes. I was saying something very profound.
Okay, go ahead.
Right through it. Ministry of Truth is really a thing. They are changing up stuff, especially around all the latest things that we have to be going through with the COVID stuff, whatever, They try to cover up certain stuff and change stuff up, and they don't want us to be truthful in this sense. So they might even cover up this presentation. Too much truth to handle.
Is that it?
About.
That was about, so we'll stay for the rest.
Because I might have a sort of an intervening sentence.
So the entire goal of the scientific method is to elucidate, that is, reveal cause and effect relationships. That is, explanation by demonstration of the hows and the whys, scientific theories, not describe the whats, the ises, and existence. That I think I need to put that in here, all the presentations. I should have done that a long time ago, but I didn't do it. Because mainly these are existence questions that people are having a problem with. Scientific method doesn't deal with whether something exists or not. Like concrete nouns, shout out to Sleeping Warrior. So identifying a mitochondria or Golgi apparatus, etc., in eukaryotes, is that a valid scientific inquiry?
I don't even know what we're talking about with the Golgi apparatus.
Golgi. Hey, it's Chris Golgi apparatusing in there.
I don't even know what I'm saying yes or no to.
These are cellular structures inside cells. Don't worry about it. Just so I just went over this. Scientific theories, not describe what's
It's a discovery.
So
Then
then it would be what? It's a yes or no question.
not an explanation.
Can you give me a coherent response? Yes or no?
It's an is, so it's not a scientific theory.
Not friggin' science. You get a cookie.
Yay.
Identifying the spin of electron. Is that science?
That could be because it's a phenomenon, right?
Not friggin' science.
Why not?
You get the cookie taken away.
Oh,
You guys are so funny.
Because
I
this
would fail science.
you would fail 5th grade general science. So, the key is listen to the question. Identifying the spin of an electron. That is an existence question. It's a yes or no question, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I thought the phenomenon was the spin, and we wanted to know why that was.
Right. Be careful. It's all in the wording of the question.
Okay.
Okay. Last one. Is categorizing organism in the taxonomic classification system science?
No.
That's an easy one, right? Not friggin' science, man. All right. You got 2 out of 3. You get 2/3 of a cookie. Maths. Mathematics isn't science or physics, much like a tape measure isn't carpentry. One of the main reasons is that they're different words. So back to Feynman again. We've already been through this definition. It's very good. It's one of the golden oldies from Richard Feynman. Mathematics is not a science from our point of view in the sense that it is not a natural science. Duh. The test of its validity is not experiment. From Dr. Carrie Mullis, Nobel laureate, biochemistry and mathematics, which is really not science. Don't even get into who he is, Betty. I know you go down a rabbit hole where we hear most of the day. From Professor Blakrishnan, Professor of Physics, ITT Madras. That's the whole point about physics. It's not mathematics. Duh. So it's not a set of...
Carrie Mullis is?
You should know who he is.
Yeah, but you don't?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
So, it's not a set of axioms from which you derive results. The rules of the game you prepare to change and subsume in an even broader framework. From Professor Shankar, Chair of Physics at Yale. Quantum mechanics, it's a theory which is based on experiment. It's not deduced by mathematics. In fact, they had to make up some mathematics to describe it. They didn't exist when it first came out. So what did they do? They made them up. Maths don't prove reality. For example, 1 apple minus 6 apples equals 5 apples. See, Anthony stole that from me back in the day. Here's one of your favorites, Betty.
Your apples?
Yeah, this...
He stole your apples.
He stole this? Yeah, he stole my concept back in the day.
He needs to give you back minus 5 apples.
And Brian came out with this 2 weeks earlier than I did. So, here's one of your favorites, Betty. Give us the equation for germ theory.
Yep.
That dude in chat was like giving him the hook. No, don't, no, move, get out. Math is immaterial and abstract, rigidly domain specific, and at best merely describes. It explains exactly squat, nada, niente. Shout out to Adam. Conversely, actual scientists are in the business of explaining phenomena by validating or invalidating cause and effect relationships between independent and dependent variables via rigorous hypothesis testing, for goodness sakes. Can you show one case in all of history where mathematics caused any phenomena? Yeah, do you walk outside and trip over fives? I don't think you. I don't think you do. You might, if you're on shrooms. Can you show the laws of motion, which are debunked, equations causing a billiard ball to roll across the table? See how silly that sounds? Yeah, it's completely silly. According to mathematics, there's an infinite distance between point A and point B. It's called Zeno's paradox. That is, if I shoot an arrow, you know I made this before I started shooting a bow?
Well, is that a prediction?
Isn't that profound?
Yep.
But I digress. According to mathematics, there's an infinite distance between point A and point B. Like I said, it's Zeno's paradox. That is, if I shoot an arrow from my back porch to the tree 20 feet away, the arrow should, mathematically, never reach the friggin' tree.
Well, in your case, that might be true.
Hey, just stow that shit.
Yep.
Oh,
You're getting the
models.
treatment.
Uh-oh. We got the peach that wants to cut in.
I said, you're really getting the treatment. They
Yeah, I
didn't give
am. You haven't heard anything. You should hear us offline.
Yeah.
It's grotesque.
Yeah. Well, you need a spanking from time to time.
Love it when she talks that way. Models.
That's good. Don't you?
From their alma mater wiki. Reification, also known as concretism, hypostatization, shout out to Nathan, or the fallacy of misplaced concreteness, is a fallacy of ambiguity when an abstraction, abstract belief, or hypothetical construct is treated as if it were a concrete real event or physical entity. In other words, it is the error of treating something that is not concrete, such as an idea, as a concrete thing. Common case of somebody off moot.
I am, and I'm already lost in these words.
I'm going to give you the bottom line. A common case of reification is the confusion of a model with reality. Yeah? That's the bottom line.
You know, we have a Dutch model that is a guy, but now he's trans and now he's a woman, and he wins the contest.
That's I'm sure my audience wanted to hear that, and I was on pins and needles.
A model with reality.
Did the U.S. team beat your countrymen yesterday?
Again?
I think the U.S. soccer team women's soccer beat your countrymen yesterday.
Countrymen.
Country women.
Okay. Well.
Or did
Are you
they
sure
tie?
Your women were really women?
Or shut up. Models in
country-
science. Yeah, I know. It's terrible you even have to ask that question these days. Models in science. This is from stanford.edu. Listen up, folks. Probing models, phenomenological models, computational models, developmental models, explanatory models, impoverished models, testing models, idealized models, theoretical models, scale models, heuristic models, caricature models, didactic models, fantasy models, toy models, imaginary models, mathematical models, substitute models, iconic models, formal models, and analog models with instrumental models. Unfrigging believable.
How many times can you say models?
I'm telling you, I was getting sick of it. Back to Plato. This is right underneath this part. Listen to this. From
Did you say
Stanford.
Play-Doh?
Say again?
Play-Doh?
I'm sorry. They say Plato at Stanford. It's their philosophy site. So stanford.edu.
Plato.
Plato. Sorry.
Not Play-Doh. I'm thinking that you are going to mold something out of clay.
What about Models play. Listen to this. This is real. After they'd said all this, listen to this. Models play an important role in science, but despite the fact that they have generated considerable interest among philosophers, there remain significant lacunas. What the hell is that in our understanding of what models are and how they work? So what's a lacuna? a blank space or missing part, a gap. So what they're saying, when you invoke models, what they're actually saying is there's a big gap in what they think models are. I wonder why, because all these guys. What the hell are you talking about? This is like an equivocation fallacy with a shot in the arm. The important point, this is from Indiana University Chemistry Department. The important point that Becker introduced, Becker was the guy that was more or less responsible for phlogiston theory. But I digress. I think he learned his lesson. The important point that Becker introduced is that explanation of a natural phenomena, i.e. model or theory, a model's not a theory, by the way, but I digress, must be testable by experimentation. In other words, once a model is proposed as an explanation of a phenomena, this is the important part. It can only be considered a scientific model if it can be objectively tested by experiment. Period.
Wait a minute.
What now?
I'm going to say something really nasty.
Okay.
A model, like a catwalk model, can be experimented upon.
Oh, brother, that is nasty. This is a family show.
I'm sorry, but I had to say that.
Oh,
The
brother.
forever digressing.
Yes. So, you say you have a scientific model, huh, Globetard Spearhead? Okie dokie. Natural phenomena observed. That's the treatment that they get, right? After I force them into defining it, which they can't, then I go natural phenomena observed. Alternate hypothesis, please. Because this said experiment. You need experiment to have a scientific model. And this is the only way you're getting an experiment via hypothesis and a null.
I never got an answer when I wrote those down in one of these comments underneath the videos from people.
Say,
I tried to mimic your sort of the way you sort of attack these things, and I would use the same text, and they would never, hardly ever come up with it. And if they did, they would sort of
it was stupid.
gymnastics, mental gymnastics.
Right.
To get
Right.
to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what? Am I getting to the end?
It might be.
It might be. Listen to this one. This is very important. Back to the University of Rochester Physics Club. Common mistakes in applying the scientific method. This is pretty important. The most fundamental error, just not an error. The most fundamental error is to mistake the hypothesis for an explanation of a phenomena. Without performing experimental tests. Sometimes common sense and logic tempt us into believing that no test is needed. There are numerous examples of this dating from the Greek philosophers to the present day. Baltards, you don't even have a hypothesis for your globetard because it's not a scientific topic. So you can't even speak to a phenomena or a hypothesis. And it's not an explanation anyway. Because the hypothesis is what? A supposition. Yeah. Look at that. I think we may be done. What's down here? Nothing. Game, set, and match. Look, I made it all the way through that. I'm a trooper.
Super trooper.
Questions, comments?
Yeah. Anybody got any questions in the chat? Not all at once, please.
Yeah, there's plenty of comments.
Have you seen this presentation before, Platzi?
Have I seen what?
Have you seen this sort of presentations from QE before?
Yeah, I saw the first one that he did on this subject.
A while ago, I think.
Well, didn't he do it not too long ago also?
Damn, this is some rigorous questioning.
How many times did you do this sort of presentation, John? I mean, you started with catexis, I believe.
I'll ask a question.
Oh, there he is. Now we're not talking about dip angle.
It's okay. It's not about dip correction. So I'm not claiming dip correction is science. If I was to claim that something was happening because of something the Earth was doing, then I'd have to show that the Earth was doing it before I could link the two things, wouldn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
We already went over that. Sorry, Betty.
Is that the phenomenon has to be like observed, right?
Yeah, but
Not
we already went over that in the beginning. You didn't see the beginning of the presentation where we were talking to Del.
I saw bits of it. I heard bits of it at the start. Yeah. No, I know you went over it. It was just because that was part of within the presentation that you must prove the existence of something before you can decide to have it in as part of a hypothesis.
Yes.
So I must prove that the Earth is rotating before I can start claiming that it's causing something to happen.
Exactly.
Like the Coriolis effect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a pretty easy question. Any tougher questions?
Yeah, what is the measure of your shoes?
Yeah, but Brian did that for an effect, though. I know why he did it. What about my
when you and there? Sorry.
Hold on, Peachy. What about my shoe?
What is the size of your shoe?
10.5.
Wow.
What the hell does that prove anything? Anyway.
We have a saying here in Holland that it is sort of a catchphrase, I would say.
Why don't you share it with everyone there, Betty?
If there is nothing else to ask, you say sort of that.
If there's nothing else to ask, you ask people shoe sizes?
In a sort of a I forget the term now. When you don't need to answer, that a question that you don't answer.
Okay, that's a rhetorical question, but that wasn't a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
But that wasn't a rhetorical question.
I understand.
Okay.
It doesn't come over right.
It doesn't come over well into English?
No, that doesn't translate well.
Or translate well, yeah. There's all kind of mistranslations coming over here.
Yeah.
All right, so what else we going to do?
No idea. Maybe listen to that Dell thing again. Maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd have to share it so everyone can listen to it in here. All right. 1 second.
I doubt if Brian heard it.
I don't know if Brian heard it or not.
I did. I obviously was just listening on YouTube, and I was up shopping. I had to stop myself from laughing by walking through the car park of the shopping centre. Because I knew everyone else around me wasn't hearing that.
Let's do it again. Heck with it. Wait a second, folks. I got to share it with the people in Discord. 1 second. Okay, stop streaming there, and then I can hit it again. This is really, really tedious. All right, here we go.
Why the clouds no hand in the earth? Why the clouds no hand in the earth? Why the clouds no hand in the earth?
Betty, I can hear Betty in the background. She can't handle it.
How did he not know that was going to be clipped out?
This is so bad.
What was your first reaction? Because we had already we weren't talking at the time. You was getting ready for bed, right? And I sent this to you. Well, I would have loved to seen that reaction.
Oh my god, I was just in tears.
And hearing it in that context, I guarantee hearing it in general would be so funny. But that context, dude.
I mean, and if you see the guy, it's even worse.
No, it's better. It's better. Listen, I'm laughing with him because I know how Dell is, and some of those things, I just lose it.
Yeah.
I used to drag my wife in here back in the day, and I'd say, "Hey, listen to this," and it was Dell, and she would start laughing, but then after she's done laughing, she goes, "What did he actually say?"
Exactly.
I don't want to hear no sweet truth about Dell. He needs to be dealt with and stop playing favorites, Huey.
I'm not playing favorites. I like the gentleman.
That's playing
Did you
favorites.
not hear what he said about you?
Yeah.
Am I deaf? Am I in bizarro world? Eli, help me out here.
Neil, are you in the mob, like the mob scene? Like, you take them out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Every time I get out, they pull me back in.
You got the accent and everything, so I'm just always thinking like you're in the mafia or something.
Just because somebody doesn't like you, that doesn't mean you must dislike them.
That's true.
Yeah.
I
I'm
gotta
not
admit
angry
that
about it at all.
Dell is hard to dislike. I agree.
I'm not even angry, even remotely, about it. It doesn't make any difference to me because I know the earth is not moving upwards. So
yeah, it's over. It's over, right? Because he made a mistake. They made a mistake with their hypothesis. It's invalid, and then in affirming consequent logical fallacy. Just own up to it and say, "All right, you know, you're right. Let me see if I can't formulate it a better way." That's it. Then it'd be forgotten.
How could you be mad at the noise that he supplied for your content today?
Yeah, I can't. That, like I said, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna go try to string him up, Neil.
All right, fine. Well, he thinks that we're making a claim. That's the whole thing. We're not making any claims. This is what we observe. Earth is stationary. I don't observe anything else.
Neil, I already went over that.
Yeah, I missed the beginning.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, we got a super chat, by the way.
No way!
Yeah, Theo McElworthy again. He says, Q. Does measuring 2 times 4 require science? A, I don't know.
Does measuring 2 times 4? Betty, you had me going. It's 2 by 4 is a board. You know.
Oh, 2 by 4.
I had to go in there and read it.
2 times 4. How do you say that? 2 times? 2 times 4?
Yeah, but that you said 2 times 4, like, you know, math problem, but it's actually 2 by 4. It's a piece of wood.
2 by 4? 2 by 4. That's a beam of 4. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But so did I say it wrong?
You didn't say it wrong, but the context of it has a different meaning.
So I said it wrong.
Not really.
Not really.
You'd have to put a couple things together, right? If you were just reading this, if you're like a foreigner like you, does measuring gives the game away. It's the context for the 2 by 4. So you can't measure 3 times 6. That's not a measurement, right? So right then and there, that should have clued you there's something wrong here.
I'm sorry, I'm at a loss now.
Theo,
the beam in my eye.
Theo, next time, just write 2 by 4, not times 4.
Yeah, I'm no good with math, especially in a different language.
It
It's not
yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. It's not a big deal. We resolved it.
Somebody said that you should be making a ringtone out of that. Make that claim a ringtone, he said.
Make it a ringtone. I'll come back to it every now and again. Boy, I'll tell you what, that's a long presentation. It wore me the heck out.
You had a lot of reading to do.
I did.
Poor baby.
I know.
I know. I'm getting old.
So I'm getting old. What?
Yeah, you said it. You said it.
Doesn't mean you have to say it.
I said it for you. And you repeated it like
Uh,
a nice little parrot.
Like a nice little parrot. There you go. Backhanded slights. This is going to turn into backhanded slights after I've been given the treatment in presentation.
Yeah. Well,
Have you? Sorry.
I was just going to say that when I talked about the whole thing with the mouth masks, for example, I think
I don't want to talk about that.
yeah, I know, but I think that many people could realize that some of the science that people are now purporting that is sort of true and whatever, and follow the science, then we know now what the scientific method is all about. And if you want to ascertain if something is really following the science, then we know now how to obtain the truth. And if we need to follow that pseudoscience.
Exactly.
It helped me a lot about these things. Also, the statistics that they have nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
All statistics, which is not based on any science at all, just on data, acquired data, and not very very good data because there's nothing isolated in these statistics. So you can do anything with statistics, right? You can prove man on the moon, I suppose.
Nope. Well,
With
hopefully
statistics.
this is a tool people can use, right? Like you said, you hear science out there being thrown around, and
Yeah, it's
you now
violated.
second.
The science is like violated.
Yes, they're using just the term because it carries so much bang, so they're just using it by mere fiat, right? So that gets people's attention. Hermit.
Yep.
I can't stand it when people say something is objectively true and then you ask them for the proof of it being objectively true and they don't give it to you and they tell you that you're stupid.
Yeah. Yep.
In situations like, sorry.
No, like, go ahead, Brian.
No, Flatzy, you continue. I stepped on you. Come on.
I'm done. That's all.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Kelly. No, go ahead, James. Go ahead, Brian.
All right. In situations like that, just demand a hypothesis. That's what you want. If you're claiming science, then you're going to have a hypothesis.
Yeah.
Or hypotheses. That's demand to see them, demand to know what they are, and then after that, they'll want to leave. They won't want you around them. Yeah.
They'll want to leave. Don't
ask
let
for
them
the
go.
measurement.
Hey, they'll want to leave, but don't let them go.
Yeah, I asked for a measurement. I don't really know if it requires a hypothesis. So.
No, we didn't go over that part yet. I think that's the next presentation. I think. No.
Oh, let me hush.
Yep. Nope. Hypothesis is pure. Now, cause and effect relationship. Is that a number?
Nope, that's why it's a measurement. It wasn't really asking. I didn't have to ask for a hypothesis. I was asking for a measurement. So.
Yep. That tells you right away it's not science because scientific method is purely qualitative, not quantitative. Now, there's some instances I could think of right off the top of my head, like dosage limits. Now, you could further investigate. Once you identify it's a cause of an effect, you can then further investigate what is that threshold dosage or lower limit or upper limit, but that has nothing to do with the previous cause and effect relationship. You guys follow that?
Yeah, the initial cause and effect
Yes.
relationship must be established.
And forecasting.
Yes, exactly. Got it. You guys got it. I figured you would.
Well, measurement is not a cause or an effect, for anything. So for something like a measurement, you don't have any need to look for a hypothesis.
Yep.
That's right.
Sorry.
You did have time.
Where's Adam?
You might need to get your strawberries, pineapple, whatever, banana out to.
I already had damn pineapple before I started the presentation.
Huh. Well, it doesn't work.
It didn't work, did it?
Nope. You need it again.
And where's Adam at? Well, you didn't hear. He's over in Italy rubbing friggin' armpits with an Italian woman.
No, I don't want to hear. No. Yikes. With the armpits again. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, this whole crew is basically the lying crew of Nathan Oakley, right?
Yeah, they're scammers.
Unbelievable, huh?
I think I might be one of the chief scammers in that scenario.
I'm proud to be one of the scammers that hangs in with Nathan, the big scammer.
the bigger of the scammers.
Yeah, the number one scammer.
Is he the number one scammer, or am I number one scammer?
No, you don't get mentioned at all. They don't mention you at all.
Oh, okay, then it's Nathan then.
Yeah, Nathan's the bad guy. I mean, some of the ballers that mention you, but most of them won't mention. But the Glowbusters, as I say, won't mention you. They mention Nathan.
Yeah, why is that, by the way?
Yeah, I was about to say, I wonder why that is.
Because they can't point the finger at QE, because QE is retired from careers. So having two careers, he's retired from them. So they can't say he's a scammer because he's not making his living off of online stuff with YouTube. Whereas YouTube is Nathan's job. That's what he does. He gave up doing what he did do to be a YouTuber on this topic. So they can point the finger at Nathan because he does spend, that is how he makes his money.
So that's why they call him a scammer then. Okay.
No, I'm tired of that word gets so overused and incorrectly. Like it's really damaging when people, either call people scammers who aren't actually scammers, or people say that, people are misrepresenting positions that people aren't misrepresenting. That's very dangerous. And, you're a disgusting human being if you're doing that. You have to stop that shit, man. Excuse the language.
I agree. I think that people should stop doing that. And also calling people
definitely.
Well, they don't lie. I mean, weird.
It definitely isn't nice. That's for sure.
You stop it because you're not nice.
That should have been Neil. Neil, you say that.
I'm never nice.
It's a second grade playground tactic to get you off topic because they have no substance. We all know who we're talking about. Hanoi, Gerain, and Shits at 60. And that ilk.
Well, QE, you said it. It seems like it's all against one. And when I say one, I mean everybody. And in this little thing here, the QE-FE debate. Should we throw Flatfoot in there?
Well, see, there's the big boy on the block. They all know who it is, right? So what you try to do is you try to take the big boy down. It's simple as that. It's just an ego pride thing. We're back on the second grade playground. So they don't have any substance. So they just start firing accusations, mainly substanceless accusations. We've all experienced this before. I just told you it's second grade playground.
So you mean when it's a snowstorm and you got a big hill left and you play King of the Hill?
Exactly.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to figure that out.
Rocket surgeon?
Yeah, it's a new phrase. Somebody said I think it was a ball tart who said it, and I picked up on it, and I took it as my own.
Rocket surgeon. Okay. Brain surgeon.
It's a cross between a brain surgeon and a rocket scientist.
Yeah. You never seen them doing surgery on a rocket, Betty?
One of them transitioned into another.
It's a woke culture.
Oh, God.
Okay. Now I get it. Right.
I think it's just the desire to have new content instead of feeling comfortable with recycling the content that's still relevant. I don't know.
Oh, I forgot. I do have some more content, Betty. I forgot what happened last night. I was in 24/7. I'm gonna, you know what? Because this gentleman apologized on another point, I'm gonna remove his name from this hypothesis.
Oh, it's very generous of you.
What a nice guy.
Ain't I being nice today?
Yeah. Unbelievable.
We're going to start calling it the Dell effect.
I like that. Neil, I like that a lot.
All right. Speaking of hypotheses, right? It was one of Dell Simps, and he was in 24/7. Now I'm not going to reveal your name. I told you I was going to make you a star, but I'm not going to. I just want to get to the substance of this. So here's the hypothesis that he gave. Oh, I'm not sharing in Discord, am I?
No.
The only thing I'm sharing is this.
Why do clouds no hand in the earth? Why do clouds no hand in the earth?
Yeah, that's what I was sharing.
I imagine that he will do this on the little, in the little, so to speak.
All right, I'm sharing now. So we got one more hypothesis to go over. All right, here it is. This is what I was given last night in 24/7.
You gonna read it?
Yeah, I am going to read it. Scientific hypothesis. Coconut blowing in the wind causes the liquid inside to displace. I said, okay, what's that? After I got done saying, what the fuck is going on out here? I said, okay, I'll play. Dependent variable. He said the liquid within the coconut displaces. I said, correct. Then I said, can you show that? He said, I can't. I said, do you have premonitions of flashbacks?
Oh my god. How did he respond to that last?
Say again?
How did he respond to the last bit?
I don't remember.
Oh, you were laughing too loud.
That was his observed phenomena.
Yeah, right. That good one. That's a tongue twister right there. As soon as he started saying coconuts, I immediately thought, because me and or a bunch of us were talking. I think Brian was there too, a bunch. But I brought up transparent coconuts.
Transparent. So wait a minute. If you shake a coconut, will it sort of make a sound?
Oh boy.
Oh boy, you've been shaking your coconuts?
It doesn't make a sound for me, but
That's a bit of a Schrodinger's cat, isn't it? That coconut thing.
yeah, but I mean, if there's a liquid in there, right? But there needs to be air in there as well to make it sound.
Boy.
I shook a coconut before. I don't remember feeling any liquid. It could have been dried up coconut.
Did you open it?
I can't remember.
Oh. Was that on Hawaii?
Yes.
So you got your own coconut on Hawaii?
I don't know. Yeah, I just remembered it being real hot, and I had a coconut. It wasn't a big coconut. It was a smaller type. It was about probably a little bigger than softball size coconut.
So that's not the one that has the extra husk on it. You're talking about the little round brown coconut, right?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not a coconut expert.
I happen to be because my wife is Guyanese and they drink the coconut water or milk, they call it.
Okay.
And they like the jelly that scrapes out from inside the coconut with the milk. So when we first were dating, she sent me to go get coconut milk. They were doing it on every corner. But I'm looking for a round brown coconut, not this big green thing that they cut off. And
I know what you're right. They are different. Yeah, now I got you.
So I come back and I say, I can't find any. I don't think they're around. She just shook her head because they were on every corner. What do I know? I'm an Italian from Brooklyn. The only coconut I seen was brown. And it looked like a softball.
Too much Gilligan's Island.
That's what I was just going to say. The only ones that I've seen back in the day were from Gilligan's Island. You beat me to it.
Was that not a movie with Tom Hanks also, that he's alone on an island and then he drinks only the coconuts?
I just remember the basketball.
Yeah.
See, that's what you guys do. You just have no focus on something else.
Well, because I seen it many years ago. It's been a long time. Is it a basketball or
basketball?
That you guys remember.
It was a volleyball.
Was it a volleyball?
Yeah.
See, it's been too many years, Betty.
Mm-hmm. You need to review that.
If I seen it yesterday, then I would have known it.
Why don't you see it yesterday?
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the name of that movie anyway?
Say again?
The Tom Hanks one?
No, what was the name of the movie with Tom Hanks stranded on an island?
Yeah.
Castaway.
Castaway.
Yes. That was
Castaway.
it. I will never take a plane again after I seen that movie.
Yeah.
No, I'll never watch a movie where there's just one guy in it for the whole movie. I'll never do that again.
What do you mean? There was the ball. He was alive.
Wilson.
Well said. Then Brian, did not see that movie where there's a guy just in a casket in a underneath the ground, just a telephone?
Was that an old movie?
No, pretty
Eddie?
recent.
'Cause it's-
Pretty recent. Nah, maybe a couple of years back.
I did actually need to say it. I did hear. I remember a movie where there was something going on, but that was taken off an old movie. There was an old movie I saw years ago where there was this scam going on, where one person was going to go underneath the ground in a casket, pretending that they were the dead person, and somehow or another there was going to be money being made out of this, and there was 3 or 4 people involved, or two main people involved. But what happened was the fella who went down under the ground, either the other guy or the people who were supposed to dig him up got killed, or they decided just to leave him there and take the money.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember that one too. Yeah.
Hey,
I can't remember. It was an old movie. I can't remember.
hey, Sleeping Warrior said not a basketball or a volleyball, and
Don't
then he
tell me it was
says,
a soccer ball.
sheesh.
Yeah,
It was a soccer
Yeah,
ball.
that was your sheep.
Football.
Yeah,
It was your sheesh ball.
sheesh.
This is where Neil needs to say, "Hey, wise guy," or something like that.
So, can we finalize it? It was an actual soccer ball, correct?
A soccer ball.
That was not a soccer ball.
You sure?
It was white. Yeah.
So was a volleyball.
How many white basketballs is that?
No, he's not saying it was a basketball. He's saying it was a volleyball.
It might be a soccer ball because it was to like the grandson, if I remember. And not too many
Maybe
young
it was
kids
a
are
volleyball
playing
then.
volleyball.
Hey, Sleeping Warrior said it was a handball.
He's just trying to get. He's just trying to. No, but he's trying. He's realised now. Actually, it was a volleyball. So this is looking bad for me.
Oh,
so he's going to change his story.
He's trying to deflect.
Yeah, because I just remembered I've never seen a Wilson soccer ball in my life.
Does Wilson make soccer balls? Let's check this.
I just Googled it. It's
Not
a
that I'm aware
volleyball.
of.
It's a volleyball.
Oh, it's a volleyball, isn't it?
Because
Yeah, there's a
it's a
picture of it in the BALLBUSTERS text chat.
Oh, is there?
The volleyball has those stripes along the side and it's stitched together. A soccer ball would have those hexagons.
yes.
I got an article. Wilson, the volleyball, still holds a place in the, I don't know what that word, because my skin's cracked. Even 2 decades after the release of Castaway, it is a volleyball.
That is a volleyball, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
I've never seen Castaway, and I know it's a volleyball.
Too funny, man.
Yeah, Slipmoyer tried to get his way out of it by switching it to a handball. Yeah, which is halfway towards volleyball.
He is trying to deflect away from that screw up. Is that what you think?
Yeah, he's from Liverpool, so there's no way he could make that mistake.
They're trying to tell us that we can't say football. We have to say handball because predominantly they're holding the ball.
And there was a hand on that ball that made the face. Remember, guys?
Him making the mistake between that being a football, as in a soccer ball in the US, and it being a volleyball, would be like Americans making a mistake between a basketball and 12 roses. It's that different. He can't make that mistake, but he did.
I wonder why Americans call their football a football. It's not a football at all. It has points. There's nothing bally about that football thing.
Is this all we got left to talk about?
Yes, and it's very important. We're talking about shapes.
We can talk about Adam. He's not here to defend
Shape
himself.
up, QE.
Let's talk about Adam then.
Since he's not here.
Yes.
To defend himself.
Well, we finally can get a word out. That's one for one.
We could finally get a word in edgewise. You say, are you implying that he talks too much?
Well, if he's on his game, it's hard to get through. I think that was Dell's complaint too on the video, because Richie's trying to talk and he drones on.
I seem to have listened to that also, and it was a pretty even exchange on interrupting.
Yeah, because she can't get her words in.
But that was towards the end, though. Towards the end, because the beginning started off pretty good.
Yeah, and then you left
I did not leave.
and not moderate.
I did. I was sitting here the whole time.
See how he gets into the defensive, guys? So cute.
She's got your number, Kiwi.
No, she thinks.
I did overtalk Rachie. Sorry.
No, she thinks she got my number. We'll let her think she does. It'll make her feel better about herself.
Are we going to backstrap or
Backstrap? No, we're not backstrapping anything.
Richie?
Say again?
I mean, the woman is not here
No.
to defend herself.
No, I'm just saying if Dell said Brian overtalked her, I did. When I heard it back on Nathan, I said, Jesus, I did overtalk her. Didn't give her a chance to talk earlier though. So I did do that. But I don't know about Adam. I don't think Adam okay, maybe towards the end, but most of the way through he was question for question.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Sometimes it's like you talk on Discord and you can't even hear the
Yes. Good point, Betty. Yes. So, Brian, you might be excused because it seems like you can't hear him. Go on, Betty. You tell him how that goes since you brought it up. It's yours.
I think that was already clear how I said it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
My style is a bit over talky anyway. I'm not gonna lie. It's like kind of a bit dogged and over talky. That's kind of the way I do it. So when I get into that mode with someone, that's the way I do it. So.
Yeah, you weren't over talking today on the show.
Oh, when you weren't on, when me and John were going at it, and Nathan. I was accusing Nathan of being John's white knight. Oh, it got nasty.
I hope you guys kiss and make up. But we never argue. You know that.
Yeah, we're just an echo chamber.
Yeah.
So anyway, football is called a football, and American football as a sign of dominance over the world. So it's a foot long. Check it out. It's a foot long, not measured in meters, but it's actually not a foot. So it's America telling you we decide what a foot is. And it's also a ball when it's shaped not like a ball, which is America telling the world we decide what a ball is. So now you know the answer.
Thanks. Makes a lot of sense.
Remember, it was Issa. He was so patriotic. What did he used to say all the time? That the greatest country in the world, right? He'd add that on the little things. Y'all remember that or no?
We tried to.
I don't, because I hardly knew.
Who was Esau?
Issa.
Isa?
Yeah, Issa. Remember Issa on his channel?
Mahalski.
Issa what?
Mahalski? The one that Texas spoke with.
Yes.
Yeah. The guy that also can sing and play guitar.
Yeah, he shows up every now and again.
Yeah. So what did he say?
He used to always shout out America is the greatest country in the world, just randomly on different things. I used to snicker at it because he was just trying to get a reaction.
Well, America is awesome. Let's be honest. It is an awesome country. But I don't think anyone can state that their country is the greatest country in the world unless you have a large group of a contingency of people who've traveled and lived and stayed in every country there is.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know what I mean? You can't say that. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean America
but we
is
have
not
the
super
reverse.
awesome.
We have the reverse, though. We have the reverse of that, which is people from every country trying to come to America today.
Yeah, but see, there's no doubt about that. I mean, everyone wants to go to America because even if you don't, if you're not interested in the desert, there's always something else, the complete opposite of the desert to go to. If you know what I mean, there's everything in America, kind of thing. So if you don't like New York, you will like somewhere else. If you don't like somewhere else, you will like New York. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So there's always, and there's so many different.
Yeah,
America is shown on television so much.
Greatest country in the world. We hear you.
There we go.
Guys,
Greatest country in the world.
you guys remember that classic? There's a classic song that I'm sure you remember saying everywhere around the world, they come into Brazil. Oh, no, that's not the song. They come into America.
Well, you know what I would say? I would say, right, as an argument against, not against America being awesome, but against the claim that it's the greatest country in the world, I would say that the amount of Americans that have international passports is a lot lower than the amount of people in other countries that have international passports. So I met a girl years ago who was from Southern California in Australia, and she didn't want to leave the east coast of Australia because she thought it was better than Southern California.
Huh.
She was shocked at how brilliant it was. So there you go. It depends. When you go somewhere else, you find out, what that place is like.
That's an interesting stat, but I think that only speaks to America being great, that Americans don't have passports.
I have a passport, and come on, Rocky IV with James Brown.
When you think about it, all these people that are living in their countries with passports, they want to go other places because the place that they're at isn't that great. There you go.
I think it comes, well, yeah, I couldn't say that because that's not. It could be true if you're coming from somewhere that's really poor, like El Salvador. But El Salvador is still your home, and there's still great things in El Salvador. It's just El Salvador has not been allowed to become great, whereas America got the chance to become great. Well, as I said to 10th Man before, without America, we wouldn't have monster trucks. Just as an example, there was no other country that was going to come up with monster trucks. It wasn't going to happen. You know,
What about NASCAR?
Yeah, that's pure. No, only America will come up with NASCAR. Only America.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna have to round things up. 5 minutes is Nathan's show, so
Wow. Since when do you consider that?
right now.
Just keep in mind that NASCAR functions by having an inclined plane for the cars to ride on as they're going around the curve to combat the car slipping out of the track due to centrifugal force, which they claim is the track pushing against the tires upwards, proving the earth rises up. I rest my case.
Can I ask a question? Does NASCAR only go into one direction, or do they switch directions after a certain amount of laps? I just can't get that. I could never do NASCAR after that. I'd watch it, but I could never do it.
So, like halfway through, the people that are ahead get to do oncoming traffic challenge.
No, after a certain amount of laps, like they then everyone would stop and they start going the other way.
They only make left turns.
Yeah, left turn.
You kept it as simple as possible, huh? Go fast and go left.
That's right.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to plug something, Betty.
Did you?
Yeah.
What are you gonna plug?
Where is it? 1 second. I'll plug it.
Unplug it?
Not
He's
unplug it.
phoning.
Plug it.
Plug it or unplug it?
Plug it.
Plug it. Plug it. What the hell? Plug it.
Where'd I put it?
Oh hell.
So why are NASCAR drivers morally superior to F1 drivers?
Why?
Because they're not up to chicanery.
I don't get that. You'll have to elaborate.
Okay, so chicanery is the concept of somebody being weaselly to you and doing side dealings with you. But it's also the expression of navigating the chicanes, which is the curves. Like, you have a road that curves in and out and back on itself. The way you navigate that is called chicanery.
And how would NASCAR match up to rally racing?
Yeah.
Rally driving.
So NASCAR doesn't do curves like that. So that's.
He's taking a left turn.
Man, I can't find this thing. Go ahead. Go talk for a few minutes.
What is the plug anyways?
I can't find it.
Maybe it's on your wine bottle.
Do dyslexic NASCAR drivers have to drive backwards?
Or ask your wife when you said plug it.
Oh, brother.
Or put a plug in it.
Oh,
No, it's not put a plug in it. It's put a cork in it, Betty.
Whatever. It's close.
I don't know. That
people-
sounded a lot different. Sorry.
Yeah. It did sound a lot different, didn't it, you vixen? Where did
What
I?
was the sorry? I interrupted you. Your riddle. Do it again.
Oh. It was just a silly joke that dyslexic NASCAR drivers have to drive backwards.
Oh. So it's one different from the Formula One races, huh?
Right.
We ruined your joke, didn't we?
Because it's a Dutch guy that's on top of that. Max Verstappen. He's great, man.
Well, the primary difference with F1 races, that although they do circular tracks, is that they do all kinds of turns and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And have these great cars.
And then you got, I know Le Mans is one of the races, but there's another class of racing where it's all different cars. So like F1 and NASCAR are both essentially stock car racing where you have a very limited list of rules, right? And your car has to meet that. Whereas the other one is like it's more open and you can have like like a Porsche and then the other guy has a Bugatti,
Is it rally driving you're talking about?
No, I mean although rally driving is like that. I used to watch this kind of racing all the time because I liked it because it's for watching the guys navigate the turns with all their different cars. It's pretty cool.
All right,
I used to
guys.
play a lot of video games.
All right, guys. There's the plug. So at some point in the near vicinity, we're gonna do a treatment, and it's gonna be on Dorkimer. So there's the plug. So just be ready. I don't know when it's gonna be. Follow. And I just got some news.
Who is Dorkimer?
Mortimer the Dorkimer.
Mortimer the Dorkimer.
Yeah. So in the next few days, I don't know when. Plus, I just got some news. Betty, we're gonna have to close this out. Yeah, because there's been an accident, so I gotta go.
A bad one?
Take us home. He's okay, but there's been an accident, so I gotta go.
Ooh. Okay.
Yep.
Well, thanks
Take care.
all in the panel for being here and for listening to the scientific method explanation. I hope that everybody got something out of this. And no ballbusters this weekend?
No ballbuster Saturday, no.
Nope. But maybe a treatment coming days?
In the coming days, yes.
Alright. I already made the thumbnail, so that's good.
And I
ready for that?
just posted it for everyone to see. Sorry you guys didn't see it.
Okay, so you will have to wait for the announcement in Discord, right?
Yes.
Alright, so take a look at that, guys, and we'll see you next time in next QE Live.
Why the clouds no hand in the earth? Why the clouds no hand in the earth?